What do you guys think of when you think of heavy metal music? Do you think of big, burly, bearded dudes screaming some guttural vocals about eating babies? Or maybe some drop D guitars with some sick licks and pinch harmonics? Or do you think of some bitch baby soy boys who can't handle customers and venues and events with different political ideologies than them? Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol. And yes, if you hadn't heard, this from Metal Sucks. Evergreen Terrace pull out of Shell Shock Festival over Kyle Rittenhouse involvement. You guys remember when heavy metal was awesome? It was all about fuck the man and fuck politics. No, now they would rather bow down and kowtow to whatever flavor of the week identity politics are actually going on and what they view as the public mainstream. So we're going to go ahead and get into this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news almost every day. And one of the best things about this article, one of the most beautiful things, is who it's written by. Hesher Keenan. Now, for those of you that don't know who Hesher Keenan is is one of those dudes that cosplays as a woman and started a harassment campaign calling literal hundreds of venues to cancel Falling in Reverse and Ronnie Radke. So, yeah, that's the type of individual we're talking about when you see this glorious article here ranting and raving about the bravery of Evergreen Terrace and their bitch-made move to cancel a headlining event. Yes, Shell Shock Festival. If there's one thing to be said about the younger bands making their way into the world lately, it's that a lot of them are not afraid to stand by their convictions.
That's stupid! You're stupid! Stop being stupid!
For example, Dying Wish, Ithaca, and other bands either threatened to or completely dropped out of this year's download over a controversial sponsor. I remember the situation. The situation was dumb. I don't know if I talked about it. I know I didn't in a video. I think I may have talked about it on stream. I know that me and Wyatt's Metal talked about it. In fact, shout out to Wyatt's Metal. He's the one that brought this article to my attention, and yeah, mad props to you. He knows what's up my alley when it comes to this culture war shenanigans that doesn't have to necessarily do with video games or comics or whatever. Well, it seems like another instance of a band standing up for their beliefs has happened again, as Florida-based metalcore band Evergreen Terrace announced they would not be performing at Shell Shock. You know what? I'm glad that they specified it was metalcore here, because metalcore is anything but metal at its core. It's a bunch of like post-punk LARPers who think they're heavy metal because instead of playing like Skater Boy-esque music, instead of playing Blink-182 or Good Charlotte, no, they're playing that style of music, but again, in drop D with heavy vocals, and hey, that makes it metal, right? No. Metalcore is punk pretending to be metals, but not like good 70s through 90s punk, but like that mid 2000s Green Day bitch era punk that's like, oh, look at us, we're so anti-authority even though we're hardcore leftists. Like that's what metalcore is. Like just same way that the author of this article is cosplaying as a woman, metalcore is cosplaying as being actual metal music, which is scheduled to take place in Orlando, Florida on October 19th at Level 13 Entertainment Center. In a statement posted to their social media accounts, the band that would have been the festival's headlining act said, "Did not do our due diligence when booking the event, and as a result, they ended up on the same bill as alt-right, broke-ass poster boy and murderer, Kyle Rittenhouse."
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Tell us you do not respect the rule of law without telling us you don't respect the rule of law. Because last I heard, Kyle Rittenhouse was found by a jury of his peers to be innocent. Homie sat in jail, waited for his time in court, and when all the evidence came out, he was found not guilty. And so if you want to go ahead and say he is a murderer, hypothetically, he could sue you for defamation. And whether you're a Kyle Rittenhouse fan or not, this is just a bad way to write an article. It's a bad way to frame an article because it shows you do not care about journalistic integrity. And I don't go, oh, Leon, it's just a heavy metal, it's just a music article. I don't really give a shit. Journalistic integrity should sort of be tantamount regardless of what type of journalism it is. And if they're willing to lie about this political stuff, if they're willing to give you and feed you such propaganda, why would they be honest about anything else they write, even if it is as inconsequential as what was the best metal album of 2024? Here's the actual post from Evergreen Terrace. Evergreen Terrace has always supported and continues to support philanthropic events for veterans, PTSD awareness, child poverty, and many more. But we will not align with an event promoting a perceived murderer such as Kyle Rittenhouse. Ah, see, they did it right. They at least put perceived murderer. They didn't call him a murderer because they know that that is defamation. That is not how it actually turned out in the court of law. Now, in the court of public opinion, sure, fair enough. Kyle Rittenhouse very well may be a perceived murderer. We all know how Mark Ruffalo feels about the dude, and we all should definitely take our political alignments and our positions on anything related to politics from Mark Ruffalo. capitalizing off of the pseudo-celebrity. Unfortunately, we did not do our due diligence at this particular event, even after they offered to pull Kyle from the event, which, by the way, fuck Shell Shock Fest for doing that. Oh no, our headliner doesn't like somebody involved with the event, somebody that, let's be real, isn't a big deal because he was in fact found innocent of any wrongdoing. Well, let's go ahead and then pull him from the event. Do you realize how many metalheads or straight up metal musicians have gone to prison and done hard time for committing actual crimes? Like, I get it. The metal community is actually pretty awesome 9 times out of 10. A lot of them are straight teddy bears. But yeah, they've done things like, murder their wives or commit arson. Like there's been, Wyatt's got some great videos on like the top 10 controversies in metal where you find out all the crazy things that some of these dudes have done. So when you're talking about, oh man, we're gonna pull this dude from our event, how bitch made has metal gotten? Like, I swear to Christ, Taylor Swift is harder than heavy metal at this point, because at least Taylor Swift is honest about who she is. Well, honest. At least she doesn't come off as, pretending to be something she's not, which is, hard and, oh, boost to the ground, look at me, I'm real, which is what metal is at this point pretending to be. We discovered several associate entities that we simply do not agree with. As advocates for free speech, we are respectfully canceling the Shell Shock Festival. Advocates for free speech. If you were an advocate for free speech, then you wouldn't care if Kyle Rittenhouse was at this festival. You would shut the fuck up, you would take your money, and you would move on. Because you know what? Free speech comes with understanding there are going to be people who disagree with you, and you work alongside them anyway. Not only is this a poor business decision, but clearly you are not actually advocates for free speech because you want an event shut down, or at least you do not want to participate in an event that just happens to showcase somebody that you don't like. Fuck all your fans, am I right?
Stop it. Get some help.
We will be personally contributing to a veterans charity and urge you to do the same. The promoters have been nothing less than understanding. Lines we draw in the sand depend on where we stand. That is such a stupid sentiment. Rittenhouse was slated to be a special guest / feature at the festival. I'm not exactly sure what that fuckface adds to anything other than maybe a seminar on how to kill protesters you disagree with, or what condiments work best with boot leather. How can you call him a bootlicker when you were the one singing the praises of the fucking state? When you were the one who was screaming and just clamoring for communist Marxist ideology to take hold and grip in this country. And Kyle Rittenhouse is the bootlicker? Are you out your goddamn mind? Also, I love that you call him a fuckface. Again, back to the journalistic integrity. Calling him a fuckface added so much to the article. Like, look, I get it. I swear in my videos. But really, at the end of the day, I'm not a journalist. I'm just an asshole who makes videos on the internet that hopefully will both inform and entertain you individuals. But how can we take this seriously? I get it. The website is called metalsucks.net, and that's probably supposed to be ironic, but it kind of is true at this point because they hire losers like you to report on heavy metal, of which I doubt you're even an actual fan. As an event that claims to be a PTSD charity and awareness event, well, you know what? Probably a pretty good guest to have then, somebody who has to live with the fact that he did in fact kill, not murder, but killed 2 individuals, self-defense or not. Yeah, PTSD, probably something the homies got from that. I'm amazed that organizers thought Rittenhouse was the right guy to add to the show. So much irony in you using the word right. You could have said the correct guy, you could have said the best guy, but you chose right. That's pretty funny. Couldn't survivors of Rittenhouse's attack be suffering from PTSD? I mean, if the survivors weren't trying to, I don't know, burn down buildings and beat him with skateboards and loot and rob and steal and, several of them, did things like beat their wives or touch children, yeah, you know what? I'm sure they're suffering from PTSD. I also think, fuck them, you get what you deserve. What about the countless kids and school professionals that deal with PTSD because someone shot up their school using the same weapon Rittenhouse did to kill those people in Kenosha? Oh my fucking god. Okay, so guns are tools, right? Guns don't kill people. People kill people. A gun is a tool. I wanna hear your thoughts on guitars or drums or bass, because those are just tools. Those don't actually make the music that you claim to write about. Humans make the music. So where are we at? If you don't like a song, if you don't like a band, if you don't like an artist, do you blame the guitar? Do you blame the person playing the guitar? Where are we at with this, tranny? How about the first responders that deal with PTSD after having to help people that have been shot with an AR-15? And kind of a shitty idea on their part, given the fact that the event tries to support CAT2, foundation with a portion of ticket proceeds to help military veterans and first responders dealing with PTSD. It's, oh, okay, so let's say they got Dan Crenshaw instead. You probably would be writing the same goddamn article because, oh, Dan Crenshaw, he's one of them filthy Republicans, isn't he? Well, first of all, no, he's a neocon, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, if they had gotten Dan Crenshaw instead, somebody that took an eye for this, lost an eye for this country, you'd be saying the same thing because he's ideologically opposed to you. Don't sit here on some sort of moral high horse and try and virtue signal that, well, they could have had a veteran up there. Yeah, you're right, they could have, but they didn't. They had somebody who has a lot of media presence around them, and let's be real, has support from a lot of individuals. Now, frankly, I think Kyle Rittenhouse is kind of a moron. If you ever heard him speak, if you ever seen him in interviews or talk shows, he's not that bright. He's kind of an idiot. So in that regard, I do think he's a bad individual to have as one of your featured guests. But mainly it's because putting him in the public eye and the spotlight sort of reveals what a moron he is, and if I were him, I'd want to keep my intellectual inequalities kind of on the DL, but again, that's just me. It's heartening to see organizers apparently side with the band and offer to pull Rittenhouse off the event to keep Evergreen Terrace. But see, what if the roles were reversed? What if it was what's her name? How dare you, bitch? What if she was one of the sponsors and, you know, falling in reverse, decided, you know what? We're not going to play the show because we don't like this girl and her climate change bullshit. And then the organizer's like, no, Greta Thunberg, that's her name. We'll get rid of Greta Thunberg. Just please come in, Ronnie Radke, please. We need the money that your fans are going to bring in. I bet you would be writing an article just absolutely lambasting the venue. How dare they get rid of Greta Thunberg for these patriarchal homophobes? Like, you have literally no intellectual or philosophical consistency or honesty. You are an ideologue who is using metal as a guise to push your propaganda. You are no different than Alyssa Mercante, except for you write for metal music instead of video games. But good on the band for taking an even closer look and finding other areas they couldn't condone. To the organizers' credit, it seems like they're cool with the band's decision. As it stands, organizers have deleted all the posts that they had featuring Rittenhouse, but it might not be enough as these other acts have apparently also decided not to participate in the festival. We don't even know if the Killer is still on the bill at this point. The fucking Killer. Are you out your goddamn mind? As no one is aligned with the festival has said anything at all. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, this is where we're at. This is where heavy metal music is at. Did you ever, if you were listening to Pantera in the 90s, did you ever expect that this is the level of bitch made that heavy metal would get to? And maybe Pantera is a bad example. There's been some accusations about their proclivities, but my point is, if you were listening to, Seven Dust or Mudvayne or any of these badass heavy metal bands, did you think that this is where metal would be in 2024? A bunch of fucking vegans who drink soy milk and play and drop D badly, might I add, and can't hold a candle to Randy Rhoads or Zach Wilde, because that's where we're at. It's all a political shell game, and the authors in the music space, you know, these journalists in the music space, are no different than the ones that we see in the gaming space, which goes to show you that the culture war at large is still unending, it is unyielding, and we must do anything and everything we can to bury these motherfuckers, kind of like how Kyle Rittenhouse buried those two, you know, child touchers and wife abusers, but a whole lot less literal and just more ideological. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, or you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and yeah, while this wasn't particularly nerdy, I am a musician. I've been a musician for, about 16 years. I love music, and you know what? Music theory is pretty nerdy, so it counts. But I also cover things like anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live stream, and of course, get involved with over 90 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity, but only one kind of diversity of thought. So if that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.